Hello everyone, welcome to JAMB Tutorials Online School. My name is Mark Upon Collins. Today we're going to be looking at JAMB 2023 past questions.
And this question says, most fishes do not sink in water because of the presence of I. Swim bladder, II. Air bladder, III. Air sacs, and IV. Air in spongy bones. A. II and III are correct. B. I and III are correct. C. I, III, and IV are correct. D. I and IV are correct. So the answer to this question, it has to possess swim bladder or air bladder, because another name for swim bladder is air bladder. So basically that option is very much correct, and that option that fits it is B. You can see the diagram, you see the presence of the swim bladder. Fishes have swim bladder or air bladder, which helps them to remain buoyant without sinking in water. They are present in the body cavity. The swim bladder, also known as the air bladder, is a fascinating organ found most bony fishes, especially osteichthyes. That's what they call bony fishes. It plays a crucial role in maintaining their buoyancy, allowing them to conserve energy and efficiently navigate their aquatic environment. And this is basically how it works. Number one, for location, the swim bladder is located in the body cavity. You can see it from the diagram, typically above the digestive system and below the spine. 2. Structure. It's a gas-filled sac made of thin, flexible tissue that can expand or contract to adjust its volume. Then 3. Function of the swim bladder is that it contains a mixture of gases, mainly oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, which is secreted by the fish body or absorbed from the surrounding water. 4. Buoyancy control. By adjusting to the volume of the swim bladder, fishes can control their buoyancy, in a situation whereby they can float easily, ascending, descending, or maintaining their position in the water column. 5. Energy conservation. The swim bladder helps fishes conserve energy by reducing the need to constantly swim to stay afloat. The swim bladder is a very remarkable means of adaptation that has evolved in this aquatic ecosystem. So that's basically what I can say about fishes. We look at the next question. Dealing with hot climate could include A. Estivation during the hottest part of the day, and that is basically the answer. If you observe this diagram, you see the lungfish is trying to bury itself inside the mud because estivation occurs on a hot day, hot and dry day. So this lungfish is trying to survive. Estivation occurs in certain animals and makes them to enter this state. In this state, they can be able to adapt and survive in hot and dry conditions. They become inactive, conserve energy, and reduce water loss during the hottest parts of the day or during extended periods of high temperatures. So lungfish exhibits this. I think even alligators also exhibit this. They try to bury themselves in the mud just exactly like how lungfish does it. So estivation is very important. So be a situation whereby in their dormant period there will be reduced activity that certain animals enter to conserve energy and survive hot and dry conditions. So I've said that before. So that's basically what estivation is about. This leaching caused by tropical rains. This option is best describes laterite soils. You see the diagram there, it looks like a red soil. Yes, and it's usually found in rich tropical places. So lateral soil, also known as latosol, is a type of soil that forms in tropical regions with high temperatures and heavy rainfall. It's characterized by its reddish brown color, low fertility, and high concentration of iron and aluminium oxides. Intense leaching caused by tropical rains leads to a loss of fertility in laterite soils for several reasons. One, nutrient depletion. Heavy rainfall washes away essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, making them unavailable to plants. Acidification. Leaching removes basic cations like calcium and magnesium, causing the soil to become more acidic, which can be detrimental to plant growth. 3. Iron and aluminum concentration. Leaching can lead to accumulation of iron and aluminum oxides, making the soil more toxic to plants. 4. Reduced organic matter. Intense rainfall can cause organic matter to decompose quickly, reducing soil's ability to retain nutrients and water. As a result, lateral soils often require additional fertilization and management practices to maintain their fertility and support plant growth. It's very, very, very important to note. It says that the theory of evolution can be defined as, is it A, the belief that all species were created in their current form, B, the hypothesis that organisms strive to improve themselves over generations, C, the idea that species change over time through natural processes, and that is the answer. That is basically what evolution is about. So the theory of evolution is a scientific explanation for the diversity as the differences of life on Earth. It states that species change over time through a process known as natural selection. This theory, proposed by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the 19th century, but the main character that proposed this theory is Charles Darwin. It suggests that populations of organisms evolve over generations in response to changes in their environment. Elaborate on the answer. So I'm going to elaborate, talk more on the answer. So the theory of evolution is fundamental. It's very, very fundamental in biology because it explains the diversity of life on Earth. It describes how species change and adapt over time through the process of natural selection. So the key things that you should note is that 1. Species change. Species are not fixed entities, but rather dynamic populations that can change over time. 2. Natural selection, the process by which populations adapt and evolve in response to environmental pressures. 3. Environmental pressures, changes in the environment such as climate, geography, or predation that affect the survival and reproduction of individuals. 4. Variation, all populations exhibit genetic variation, which provides the raw material for evolution. 5. Heritability, the passing of traits from parents to offspring through the transmission of genetic information. So you got that's basically telling you that the environment and also genes has a major role that it plays in evolution. Yeah, we can also have various mechanisms of evolution. We have mutation, which is random changes in DNA that can result in new traits. We have 2. Genetic drift, changes in population genetics due to chance events. I said it is changes in population genetics due to chance events, so it has to be based on probability. 3. Gene flow, the movement of genes from one population to another. 4. Artificial selection, human-induced selection. That means this selection is caused and is carried out by humans, such as breeding for desirable traits. Evidence for evolution, fossil record, the chronological record of ancient life forms, comparative anatomy, similarities, and homologies between different species. We'll look at the next question. It says, which of the following is an example of a behavioral adaptation for survival in animals? So we have A, sharp teeth. No, that cannot be the answer. We have B, migration, and that is exactly what we're looking for, migration. So migration is an example of a behavioral adaptation for survival in animals. Migration refers to the regular movement of animals from one place to another, often over long distances. Animals may migrate to find better food sources, suitable breeding grounds, or more favorable climates. As you can see from this diagram, you see how the bird is migrating to a place that is more palatable or favorable to it. So migration is indeed a remarkable behavioral adaptation that enables animals to survive and thrive in changing environments. By migrating, animals can find food, they can also breed and reproduce, escape harsh weather, predator avoidance, and they can also improve living conditions. So migration is very, very important. So the types of migration that occurs, we have seasonal migration. This is talking about how regular movements between summer and winter habitats occurs. So two, we also have altitudinal migration, movement up or down mountains in response to changing seasons. That's what that is about. Then we also have three, long distance migration, talking about epic journeys, often across continents or oceans undertaken by some species. So examples of migratory animals include, we have monarch butterflies. They carry out their traveling thousands of miles across North America, you know. Then we have the humpback whales migrating across oceans to reach breeding and feeding grounds, etc. There are so many cases of migration in living organisms. So those are the few ones I want us to take. Let's look at the next question.